Welcome to the Six Figure Medicare Agent Summit. So, I've been in a whirlwind. This is the 14th event that I have spoken at, emceed in the last 9 months. I just came off of Medicarians for 4 straight days in Vegas. That was a phenomenal event. This is going to be a phenomenal event. And I can guarantee you that by the end of this event, my voice will be perfect. So I'm not going to take up a ton of time for obvious reasons, but we are going to do our best to keep this thing moving, keep it moving quick, keep it moving swift, keep it upbeat so that these speakers can do what they're here to do, which is give you guys value that you can take back to your office and grow your business. Does that sound good? That's what you came for, right? Awesome. Well, I do want to tell you one thing that, like I said, I've been at 14 events in the last 9 months. I've actually been at 16. 14 of them I've been speaking at. It's been a blast. I love events because I've been in this business for 18 years, and I'm jealous of the new agents that come into this place because now they have events like this. When I grew up in this business, we didn't have events. If there were agents in a room, you could guarantee somebody was getting recruited, and that was about it. But now we have people from cross industries, cross hierarchies, different product lines, different states, different agencies, all coming here with one collaborative purpose, and that's to work together to lift up the industry. How good is that? See, when I came into business, I was recruited by a good friend of mine that I'd trusted for a long time, had worked with her previously. And she called me up one day and was like, "Hey, Merwin, what are you doing?" And at the time, I was doing nothing. I was actually sitting on my couch eating a stale rice cake. And she said, "Hey, I have an idea for you." I set up an interview with my manager for this sales and marketing gig. I was like, "All right, I'll go check it out." So I went and checked it out, and it was a 1099 gig, banging on doors, selling cancer treatment products for Family Heritage. And that's how I got in the business. I worked with them for about 14 months. About 14 months. And I was terrible at it, which blew my mind because I had a ton of experience knocking on doors and doing sales already. The organization that Tiffany worked with me from that introduced me to insurance, I had gotten promoted as the #1 team builder in all of North America. So I was pretty good. I felt like we could do this. The guy shows me the cancer product. It looks great. Tells me that it's a door-to-door business model. I'm like, this is going to be a piece of cake. I'm going to kill this. So I went and got my test, right? Did my fingerprints, got my license, got all ready to go. I get out there, and I was terrible. I was lucky if I could sell 2 apps a week. And if they stayed on the books and didn't get charged back the next week, even better. I had to get a job building bar stools at night just so I could make ends meet and pay my bills. And I'm pretty competitive. It actually pissed me off because I would get newsletters from the team that was in Houston that recruited me. I was in Austin, Texas, all by myself. Nobody to team day with, nobody to learn from, nobody to collaborate with, nobody to role play with, just me. Doing my thing, banging on doors, talking about cancer. The team that I was supposed to be supported by was out of Houston, and I would see their newsletters, and I would see guys that were doing 10, 12, 15 apps a week. I was like, I don't understand it. I know I'm good. Why am I only doing 2? I've got the work ethic. I know I've got desire. I've got some skills. But the marketing that I've been doing before compared to the insurance consultative type sale was a lot different. And I didn't have the skill set. And I knew one thing and one thing only. I had to get into Houston in that office, find out what those guys were doing. What sets them apart? Because I know they're no better than me. I have all that I need, but I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. And the only way I'm going to find out is to surround myself with people that are doing better. So I woke up early one morning, about 4 a.m., scraped together what little money I could put in my truck for gas, and I drove to Houston. And I'm sitting in this room full of all the guys. Actually, we're standing. Our sales director, Larry's the only one allowed to sit down. So we're all hovered around him like he's about preaching the gospel or something. And he doesn't introduce me, but he lets the numbers introduce me themselves. He pulls out the production log. And for the first time, actually, I was really excited because even though I only had my regular 2 apps, Reggie had turned in a blank week the previous week, so I wasn't last. Now, Reggie was on his honeymoon, but that's okay. I'm going to take any win I can get. So, but Larry flips the script, and he starts from the bottom and then works up to the top guys. So, guess who's going first? He's like, Tony, Merwin. He's like, oh, yeah, by the way, guys, this is Tony. This is the guy in Austin. And you can see them all looking at me and like, oh, that's the guy. We see, there he is. They're laughing at me. But he goes through the production logs, and he gets to the two top guys, Mike and John. Both had written 15 apps the previous week. And I'm thinking, there's the two guys I got to talk to. I got exactly what I wanted. So as soon as this meeting's over, I'm going to connect with those dudes and learn what they're doing, find out what separates them from me. But Larry actually does it for me. And he's like, hey, Mike, John, you two guys are killing it every single week. What is going on? Either John's at the top or Mike's at the top, or you're tied. Every week, doesn't change. John, why don't you tell us what you're doing out there? And John is pretty cavalier about it. He's like, oh, you know, Larry, you just got to go out there and do the deal. And I'm writing it down. Do the deal. And I'm looking at it, and I'm expecting more, but he doesn't say anything else. And then Larry doesn't badger him and just moves on to Mike. He's like, well, Mike, how about you? You wrote 15 apps last week. Why don't you enlighten us on what you're doing that helps you set the pace? And Mike's a little more of a deep thinker. He's an East Texas boy, and he put his hands in his pockets, looks down at his boots. He's like, oh, you know, Larry, it's like old John said. You just got to go out there and do the deal. And I'm looking at my paper going, do the deal. And I'm looking up at the room, and all the other agents in the room are like, yep, do the deal. Do the deal. Like they all get this secret thing that I don't. Like, what the hell is going on? Did I spell it wrong? What am I missing? So Larry says, well, there you have it, boys. Go out there and do the deal. And adjourns the meeting, and we all leave. I go out in the parking lot, and I chase down John. I'm like, John, dude, you got to help me, bro. You've seen my numbers. I stink. Can you show me how to do this deal, whatever it is? He's like, man, can't have any room for ride along. I've already got a trainee. Can't do two. Like, all right. He's like, go check with some of the other guys. So I run and I find Mike. I'm like, Mike, dude, I stink. Can you take me out and give me a ride along, show me some stuff? He's like, man, I'm doing a half day today, going to see my kid's football game. Go check with your other sales director. So I go back in the office, and I see Mike Jones, one of the other sales directors, and I go, Mike, I'm terrible. You see my numbers. I need help. Can you take me out in the field and train me today? And Mike's like, man, I got a ton of recruiting interviews. We got to recruit. And then he says, hey, come back next week. Maybe we'll see if we can get you out there with somebody. All I heard was maybe if. And maybe if didn't sound like they were as invested in my success as I was. Maybe if didn't sound like they cared if their teammate could actually pay his bills and feed himself. And so I started thinking, well, maybe if I just go back to Austin and build bar stools, I'll figure this insurance thing out someday. And then one day I'm hanging out with some acquaintances, and another dude rolls in with this group that stuck out like a sore thumb. And I ended up meeting him, got to know him a little bit. He's dressed real nice. And finally we start chatting. He's like, hey, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm in insurance. He's like, hey, I'm in insurance. What a coincidence. We're in the same business. But I looked at him. I was like, nah, something ain't right. It was like, I don't know if you remember those picture frame puzzles you used to see in the newspaper where you had two pictures, you had to spot the differences, right? So I was looking at him and I go, let's see what's going on. He's got a $5,000 Breitling. I've got a Casio. It was vintage. Let's do another one. Let's look at, well, he's got a three-piece Armani suit. I don't know if it was Armani, but it was a nice suit. I'm wearing yesterday's field khakis with tattered knees. Let's do one more. Let's look again. Oh, he's got a 5 Series Beamer. I'm driving a puke brown Skylark with a busted window and a magnet on the dash where the swinging Jesus used to be. We're not in the same business. Like, something doesn't compute. But I got to know that guy, befriended him, and for the last 17 years, I've been working under his mentorship in the Medicare space. And I want to be really clear about that because it wasn't the cancer treatment products that were the problem. It wasn't Medicare that helped me find success. The difference is solely in the mentor. That's it. And that's why I like these events, because these events allow us to tie together with a very successful group of agents and business owners so that we can learn their skills, habits, their mindset, the way they do their business, so that we can elevate our game, right, to as high a level as we want, because that's the beautiful thing about this business. There absolutely is no limit. We can build it as big, as efficient, as streamlined, as heavy or light as we care to. It's completely on us, and the mentorship is the difference that's going to help us succeed. And that's why I truly, truly love these events, and I come out and support them all. So with that said, thank you all for listening to my rough voice. I do want to bring up our first speaker, who has become a really good friend of mine. He's an incredible leader in the industry. Similarly, he constantly out there supporting agents. What can he do to support this industry and help elevate it? And that's why I have a ton of respect for this man. I work with marketing, and again, he's become a good friend of mine. He's a phenomenal leader in the industry. He is.
I can't seem to get in.
Hello.
I'm the first speaker. Oh, thank you. I'm outside. I'm saying, Merwin, say my name. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. My wife always says, why do you do stuff like that? I said, I'm in marketing. I didn't come to the show so nobody would see me. Right? If there's no message I can give you today, if there's one message, it's this, that you guys really are not actually in sales. You're in prospecting. Because 90% of the time you're prospecting. Right? I ask that question all the time. What do you do? I sell insurance. Actually, no, you don't. You only do that about 10% of the time. The rest of it is prospecting. Thank you, Christian, for texting me 2 days ago and grabbing me to get up here. I appreciate it. They're laughing like that was sarcasm. It was not sarcasm. Thank you. Thank you very much. I always appreciate the opportunity to be here because, as again, I'm in marketing. I expect people to remember me. Yesterday, I was in Phoenix connecting through here. I was just in the Admirals Club for 15 minutes to reset my bags and have a clean bathroom. And a dude walks up to me in Admirals Club and says, "Don't you own Lead Concepts?" I said, "I do." And he said, "Well, I'm Cameron Black. I'm Senior VP at National Guardian Life." I'm in prospecting. We connected cell phones, of course, but he said, "I've been referring a lot of stuff to you. I've never actually met you." So my marketing, my videos are obviously working. Anybody seen any of my videos, LinkedIn, or how'd you guys like the mustache one? Full-on mustache. My wife's like, "What are you doing with a mustache?" Same thing I'm doing with this ridiculous white beard. Doing what other people wouldn't do. Doing what other people wouldn't do. So let's get started. I promise I will talk about leads very specifically. I started Lead Concepts 30 years ago when I was 24 years old. I've been in leads all that time, so I promise I will give you what is working today and what is not working. So I will give you all of the cheat codes. Zach, remind me at the end of the presentation, I will give you all my cell phone numbers so that you can text me at any time ever into the future and find out what's really happening on that specific day, what works and what doesn't work. So here it is. Greatness walks into the room and nobody stops to notice me. I pass people in the halls and they see me and I think, they don't even know what walked right by them. And this is where people in the front row look at me like, what an ass. Who says that? Someone who wants to make sure you're not looking down at your phone while I'm talking. Greatness walks into the room. Nobody stops to notice. When you really look at the amount of things that you guys have to do to be successful, I have tried. I can't get it all down on paper, all the things that you have to do to be successful. You talk about success. What success looks like to each individual person is different. But I ask the question, what does success look like to you? Because we don't often stop and ask ourselves that. It could be building a client base, and that's plenty. That's good enough. Could be building a business. That's all I was doing in the beginning, but as time went by, I realized what I was doing is building a legacy. My kids are 26, 23, and 20. They're following in my footsteps, so I went, everything changes. For some people, success is measured by a number. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have some number in mind, you say, when I reach this dollar amount in my checking account, in my bank account, that's success. But I contend whatever that number is that you've set is too high if you leave this plane too soon. If you die next week, you'll never make your number. But if you live to 100, your number is too low. So the number is just a number. It's a journey to that number, and the number has to change as time moves on. But why not ask yourself what success looks like? I am of the opinion that everyone in this room, whether they believe it or not, is already successful by my measure. My measure of success is that any person that wakes up in the morning with a goal, with a plan, with an objective, and knows what their career path is already successful. You, Bobby, are a success already. Whatever you may want to think about starting out in the business and what success is going to look like in the future, you are already a success. And when you walk past somebody in the mall and they don't stop to recognize that they just passed a success, that's what I want you thinking. Greatness just walked by these people and they didn't even stop to notice me. It's a state of mind, right? I am of the belief that words matter. I was in a lift in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've lost track a week and a half ago. It was an hour drive from Omaha to Lincoln. The woman that was driving me, she said she just drives to fill in the gaps because she's a new real estate agent. And I started asking her questions about her job, her life, her situation. She had a couple of children. And she said that she was really just kind of starting out, and her upline had given her a script, and she didn't really love the script. I asked her, how are all of her friends who are in the same spot as her, how are they doing? And they all have the same script. And she said, well, none of us are doing particularly well. I said, it's probably not the script. It's probably just that nobody's calling the script. Because you have to make that call, and you have to make that call multiple times. I asked her this question, what is it that you do that nobody else does? That's marketing. What do you do that nobody else does? I said, when you get a listing, do you take professional pictures of the homes? And she said, yes, we get it. In fact, she said, we have a drone that comes out. Within 24 hours, we have a drone over the house taking pictures. And I said, well, that seems pretty neat. And she said, well, other people do that, but not everybody. I asked her this question, how many homes will you list this year? She said, well, I think maybe 8. I said, all right, well, what if you said it this way when you're on the phone with somebody and you said, listen, I'm only taking 8 listings this year. Said the same thing. I'm only taking 8 listings this year. Are you going to be one of them? I can be out, get you signed, and have a drone out over your house within 24 hours. Take professional pictures. I need to know, do you want your whole home sold tomorrow or for maximum value? I'm going to do that, whichever one that is, and I'm not going to be spending all day looking for my next client because I'm not looking for 50 homes, I'm looking for 8. So are you going to be one of them? She said, I had 3 calls yesterday. I need to call them back. So she didn't think she was doing anything special, and maybe she's not, because other people can do what she can do. But she was ready to make a few more phone calls because I had simply given her a different way of looking at how to use those words. I have a lot of people tell me they're going to downsize their home, and I say, why would you downsize your home? Why would you downsize anything? I'm going to upsize everything. I want to do everything big. I said, I tell you what, instead of downsizing, how about if you right-size? Right-size your life, right-size your house, right-size your land, but it doesn't have to be downsized. That doesn't sound right to me, to downsize. When you talk about success, and I don't know why I always had a knack of taking a look at what everybody was doing and then doing something different. And I have found in my 54 years on this planet that is a unique skill. I don't know why I was gifted that. Most people don't do that. I watched it with my son, who when he was young had a tremendous flair. He dressed in a vest and he wore a hat to school. I mean, he had flair, that little guy, and a big smile and a zest. He's 20 now. Not nearly as much zest. And he doesn't dress flamboyantly fun like he used to. But what happened to him is what happens to so many people. When you wake up, you go to school, and you look around, and you kind of, if you're intelligent, you see what everybody else is doing. And you conform to that. So he started wearing shorts that were longer and baggier, and he gave up who he wanted to be so that he could conform. And when you go to college, you go to class and you look around and you see what everybody's doing, how they're dressed, and you conform, you fit in. You get a job, you go and you look around. I see some people have figured out how to melt in and not really work too hard, and I've seen some people doing a little bit more. You decide what you want to be. What you're doing in that case is you're looking around and you're following the followers by accident, because you're intelligent. You see what everybody's doing. But when you consider a life of following the followers, because you haven't put yourself in the right mindset to say, I want to be very specific about who I want to follow. Doesn't matter who it is. Could be a relative, could be a friend, could be a mentor. Doesn't matter who it is. I'm saying be intentional about being different. Be intentional about who you're following, if you want to follow. Emulating somebody else, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm a conglomeration of many, many people because I'm always reading. I'm always gathering information. So in your pursuit of a life of prospecting, I ask you this question. How many people in your sphere of influence, your friends, your neighbors, your buddies, how many of them actually know what you do for a living? So here it is, and pardon me, but shame on you for calling me the lead vendor and wanting to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on leads. And people you know and bump into at the grocery store don't even know what you do. So the lead vendor is up here saying, don't buy leads. Listen, of course I want you to buy leads and use them for referrals and all that other stuff, but there's so many things you've got to be doing before you buy leads, right? You're in the crux of it, Bobby, going to bingo at the bowling alley. I mean, I'm not going to talk about grassroots marketing. You get it. You understand it. You can find it. All the books on that, all the things you can do to be doing grassroots marketing. That's not what I'm here. I'm here for leads. I'm here specifically for leads. So we should move on to that. What's working today, any of you who have done leads, are doing leads, may understand that a few years ago, 3 years ago, we were getting 5, 6, 7, 8% on some of our mailers, especially low income. So a lead may be costing you $8 in the direct mail space, where each year that went by, that number came down, and now we're around 1%. I've got some huge players calling me saying, my current vendor is only getting 0.7. I'll say, well, it is down. The market's down. The pulls are not where they were. We pull a lot more than 0.7, depending on where you are. But our response rates are higher than our competitors. They always have been. My mailers, again, are unique. I have newly reimagined our Medicare mailer. I looked at what my team was doing, and they were doing what most people were doing. They were butting their heads against the new CMS guidelines and getting all these mailers approved and all that, and disclaimers are this long on there, and they're not working. And I said, well, why are we doing that? If we mail a Medicare supplement mailer instead of a Medicare Advantage mailer, we don't have to have all those disclaimers on there. Well, the people want to mail Medicare Advantage. No, they don't. They don't. They want to sell a Medicare Advantage. They want to sell a Medicare supplement. They want a prospect to stand in front of and identify what's the best product for them at that time. If we do a Medicare supplement mailer to a lower age bracket, it becomes a Medicare Advantage lead. Scope of appointment. I was visiting with Lester Kahn. Does everybody know Lester? If you don't know Lester, what a great human. Make sure you say hello to Lester, Agent Pipeline. He made a great point yesterday after his third Diet Coke. He gets rowdy after his third Diet Coke or sweet tea. Sweet tea. He said, well, when you focus on the 72 to 79-year-old, they've had multiple rate hikes. And those 5-star plans are everywhere now. So while response rates have been dropping and some things are getting harder, some things have gotten easier. 5-star plans are more and more. Right? They give a trophy to everybody now, I guess. 5-star plans for everybody. What's working is putting your phone number on any ad that you mail. I've been doing this for 30 years. For 29 years, we said, don't put your phone number on there. The market has changed. The market has changed, and if you want to do a regular campaign with me, get 30 leads and go in a dark room and dial them all 8, 10 times a piece, trying to find 25% of them that'll take an appointment. That's just not where it is at this point. And so we will get lead cards for you, but how many of them get this message, read this message, and make a decision to engage right then and just call you? We'll put the times on there so they don't call you at 11 o'clock at night while they're watching the shopping channel or whatever it is. But the market's changed. We have to adapt. You have to adapt. People say, well, I want to call him when I'm ready to call him. I was like, well, okay, fine, tough. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Seminars are working phenomenally well right now. I know not everybody in this room wants to do a seminar. I'm not telling you to do seminars. From a marketing standpoint, they're working exceptionally well. We speak Medicare in my company. We speak seminars as well. We do a seminar mailer, a radius of your location. I insist when you do it that you let our team handle the inbound phone traffic. It's extra money, but we got to make sure when people call, they're getting handled properly 24 hours a day. And we can add a Facebook component to that. Facebook for Medicare seminars is unique because Facebook for Medicare seminars, we get different people than we do who respond to the mail. Here's the catch. More people from the mail attend than who sign up on Facebook. More people who sign up on Facebook never show their face at the event. Was the goal to have a seminar? No. It was to catch their attention on a Medicare message, no matter how the heck we do it. When they respond to the Facebook ad that they want to attend, we're making an assumption at that moment that they're not going to attend because they've showed their underbelly on Facebook enough times that we expect that. So we email them a guidebook, an opportunity for them to request a free quote. They fill out their name, their age, zip code, smoker, non-smoker, push that to you. You can run a quote separately and be able to reach out to them. Don't send them the quote, please. Just prepare the quote and then request a phone call with them to go over the quote. I can send you the quote when I talk to you, right? It's a lead. It's a lead. One or two of them may attend the event. Of course, some of them do. Most of them don't. We don't want to lose those people. We immediately begin to nurture on them and get those as well. Seminars, you can spend $15 on each person. Do it. Do it. You got them there, feed them. They owe you an appointment, you fed them. There's places you can find that will support a $15 number. Pizza places, there are places. The seminar is at 6:30 on Tuesday or Thursday. Wednesday works. Tuesday or Thursday may work a little bit better. It's not Monday, it's not Friday, it's not Saturday, it's not lunch. Chris, I want to do a seminar, I want to do a lunch. Please don't. What works, that works. Okay? Our team at Lead Concepts have all of that information. They will tell you the same things that I just told you. Everybody wants a 64-year-old. You guys want a 64-year-old? Just call me. What are you talking about? I've got them. What are you talking about? You want a 64-year-old? For years, we did an initial enrollment mailer. Of course, now it would have your phone number on it as well. We did an initial enrollment mailer, and we would either do people turning 65 in 6 months, so that, because if you did it at 3 months, which is ideal, 3 or 4 months, not very cards would come back because they got so much mail already. When you do it at 6 months, we used to get, 1.5%, a reasonable response rate, cost per lead. If you did it at 12 months out, be the first one to mail them, you might get 3 or 4% response rate. 30 or 40 cards for the same price as if you did it at 90 days and got, 8 cards. But now you can't sell them. Or can you? So if you have to mail somebody that far out, you can't sell them yet. You're not selling that product, you're selling yourself, right? you're going to go out and you're going to spend 20 minutes with them, 2 hours with them, answering all of their questions, make sure they understand everything that they need to know. And before you leave, you're going to take out a trash bag, paper bag, and write your phone number, your name. Have you heard this before? Right, yes, thank you. Leave the trash bag there. Say, listen, you're going to get a lot of mail over the next, 9 months. And some of those people know what they're talking about and some don't, and I don't know the difference, but it doesn't matter anymore. You just take that mail, put it in this bag, and write the date down that you're going to come and write that app. This is when I can come back and sign this. In the meantime, just put everything in there. Now, between the time of now and when I come back, do me a favor, please. Don't cancel your cancer policy. Don't cancel your cancer policy, please. I want to tell you guys something I tell my wife all the time. Listen, at my age, it's okay to say wow. I like to hear wow. I don't get it very often at my age. I think that was a wow. You got 3 or 4%. You're out there presenting. You're converting to a cancer policy. Once you get the cancer policy, they're not going to buy from somebody else. They're going to wait for you to come back when you can actually write that supplement. I understand the challenges of mailing at 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I developed last year a different mailer that is a hybrid. So we mail it to all 64-year-olds rather than one specific month. So you're getting people you can sell now, next month, the month after, and that pulls about 2.5%. 64-year-olds all the way through for a year. And that has sort of set the standard, especially with a phone number. So if you're calling us or calling one of my team members and you want to do those 64s, you want to ask them for the hybrid mailer. Okay? If anybody goes, huh? Just say Chris Weir. All right? The 64-year-old hybrid mailer, it does well, and it gives you people you can sell now. The people who procrastinated and didn't make a decision yet, and they're like, oh crap, I need to make a decision. And then you've got those that you can X-date forward. Let's stop for a second. And tell me what are we thinking? It's dangerous if I've got a room of Medicare Advantage agents. If I've got life agents in the room, they've already been heckling me. Tell me something I don't know. Leads is it. The unique opportunity here is that you've got somebody who only does that and has been doing it for 30 years. Take my cell phone, please. My business cards have them as well. You can come by and get my business card. My cell phone is 817-706-7914. If you call me, you will have no luck. If you text me, you'll never miss. Lead concepts, we are doing Facebook leads. Of course, I have to get digital. I've been doing them for a few years. We are doing Facebook only for Medicare. My sales team is handling the Facebook for seminars. You cannot just do a Facebook ad for seminars because, as I told you, those people don't attend. But as an attachment to direct mail, we can do it that way. For people that are looking for larger lead sets, Facebook leads work well when you're doing larger population areas. They don't work as well if you want to call me and just give me one county. It just doesn't work. Your cost per lead is too high. How many of you attended Justin's Facebook training? I purposely did not jump in on that, dude. I wanted to, but I knew it was limited to 500, so I left it. But good for you for doing that, and thank you. Guys, I'll leave that with you then. It's all about the words. It's how you position yourself. You may not be doing anything different from anybody else, but guess what? The person you're talking to doesn't know that. You come here and you look around and you go, oh my God, I'm not being successful enough. baloney. You wake up every day with a plan and a purpose. You know where you're headed. That's success already. You're already successful. I congratulate you, and if there's ever anything I can do to help you make life easier, please just reach out.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris Weir. Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate something. I certainly appreciate everything you said there. I do pretty much the same generic mailers he's talking about with him. We added one little thing to him, which is a QR code that goes to a landing page. And then so people can get that mailer, they can scan, and then they go to a landing page where they get a conversion form. There's like a lead magnet. I think we use our six step checklist to transition to Medicare. Works great because now I take that BRC mailer that I get from him and I'm able to basically convert it into a high quality, high contact, exclusive internet lead. So nice trick. But yeah, we do the phone number and everything on there, so thank you.